You know what separates Naofumi from the other three heroes that's in this series? It's the fact that he's not a glory hog. He's someone that's not just out there for a reward. He's not someone that's out there just to get fame. He's just doing what a hero should. Save people, protect people, and not really expect anything out of it. Honestly, it's the same thought process that you can apply to My Hero Academia. It's some of the main themes of this series since the very beginning that's been set up. But the point here, though, is with Shield Hero, or at least what we saw from Naofumi, is that he is someone that went to the aid of the village. The village that was under attack from these, like, zombies. This zombie horde that was going to wipe them all out. Now, let's look at everything critically for a second, okay? When we look at the way the episode is depicted, obviously we saw from the POV of Naofumi and Raph and how they were working together to be able to protect the village. The big point here is that when we had a little bit of a cut over towards the other heroes, they were handling this boss, which was like a chimera slash manticore, and they were having like a life or death battle, like struggle against it. And obviously at the end of the episode when they took it down, the wave stopped. So you could tie in the reason why the wave stopped was thanks to the boss being taken down. But the point here was, though, they were so preoccupied with their own glory, fighting this boss, this epic boss, that they were not even considering the fact of what was happening to the people that were a part of the kingdom, or the civilians that were being potentially attacked by these monsters coming from the wave. And so in that moment, we got to see what separates the characters, and why I really respect Naofumi as a character, and how it really exposes the other heroes for what they really are. Now, to go one step further, to really talk about all of this, and to really kind of just explain what makes this episode so good, is the fact that in this episode, Naofumi, he is someone that obviously has been constantly put down by the entirety of this kingdom. Like, everybody does not like him, everybody throws him to the wind, nobody respects him, he cannot get anyone to really help him. He's managed to slowly get on by thanks to sheer luck. I mean, he's gotten Raph to help him out, but to the guy that, you know, made his armor in this episode, he just lucked out entirely, because the dude is just a good dude at the end of the day. But the big point here is, though, Naofumi hasn't really had much help whatsoever. He's had to really struggle and work to where he's at right now. And so when you look at this episode of how he's just protecting these individuals, it really speaks a lot about his character. Because if you were in his situation, you'd probably say, why? Why am I helping these people? Why should I help these people? I mean, he even asked that question in this episode. He's like, why am I protecting them? Why am I saving them? I mean, they don't respect me. They don't care about me. They honestly would rather if I just end up dead. It's just like, it's a moment where you like, I understand that feeling, why he would think that, and it makes you wonder why he wouldn't do that. But that's the point. That's what separates him from normal people, is that he's a hero. Regardless of how people feel about him, he goes out of his way to try to save people, which, like I said, speaks a lot about Naofumi as a character. Now, another ironic thing about this is that the entire country, obviously, has been praising the spear hero, the sword hero, the bow hero, whatever. They've been, you know, constantly praising the other heroes. And obviously, Naofumi, he's been, you know, in the ground. Nobody respects him. I mean, even when he came into this world, nobody respected him whatsoever. Before even what happened with Mine and all that, what she did to him, nobody respected the shield hero because he was kind of like the lame duck. And it's ironic that the one dude to really protect everybody was the shield hero. He's the one that protected the, you know, the civilians, the people that can build after the waves are done, which that's the main important thing that you can get out of this. See, even if the waves are defeated, the boss is done, it doesn't mean that, you know, it's technically a victory. That was kind of one of the moral questions at the end of the episode when, Naofumi is being asked, did we win? Like, did we actually win or whatever? And he really didn't give an answer. And the reason why is because there was so much lost in that one wave. The entire village was burnt to the ground. You had to where people died, obviously. Soldiers died. You know, a lot of people got affected / hurt. And in this case, you can't really consider that a win. Even though the boss was taken down, it doesn't mean that everything is over. The pain and struggle is over because, you know, now they all have to rebuild. They have to work from the very beginning to get back where they were, and the lives that were lost will never come back. So when you look at everything, they did not win. And once everything is said and done with these waves, the entire populace will have to come together to work to rebuild things. And that's the point I think the other heroes are not understanding, is that they're such glory hogs. They want everything, and they think they deserve so much, but in reality, they're taking away probably from what the people need, the populace need, for them to be able to function and be able to move on after these events. Because life will continue to move on once the heroes are done with their job. And these people will need to rebuild once again. So anyways, what I say that makes this ironic is that Naofumi, like I said, he's the lame duck, and he's the one having to protect the village, having to protect the people, even work and protect the soldiers, and, you know, he doesn't really get any glory at the end either. He's not getting paid or anything, no reward whatsoever, in which that's technically what a hero should be like, but you see all these other heroes getting paid, getting rewarded, taken to the capital or whatever, while Naofumi is not really getting anything out of turn. He's just sitting there looking at, you know, the destruction of the wave, what it did to the town and everything. You're like, holy crap. And also, a demi-human like Raph was also helping everybody out, which speaks a lot about, you know, the situation with these other heroes. See, we even see in this episode how demi-humans are mistreated. I mean, we see the girl with the red hair, Mine, that, you know, put Naofumi in this position in the first place. We see her like, why are you speaking to, you know, a demi-human like that? Why are you being so kind to a demi-human? Which, once again, points out one of the big things with this country, the problems with the country, is that demi-humans are not respected. I mean, we already knew this when Raph was first introduced in episode 2, when we saw when she tried to enter inside of a restaurant, there was a sign that literally said that demi-humans are not allowed. So we know demi-humans not loved, they're not respected, they're enslaved, and they don't have any rights whatsoever. So in this case, seeing how, once again, another example of the underdogs, or, you know, someone that's been pushed down by society has to step up and help out society, or the populace, is ironic. And I love the series for doing something like that with its storytelling. Now, speaking of the demi-human, or Raph in general, I want to talk about how adorable she is, and how good of a character she is in this episode. Raph obviously has made a major change in appearance. It's very obvious since the start of this episode that she seems a lot older now. She doesn't seem like a child. Even the way she acts towards Naofumi is completely different from how she acted in the last episode. In some ways, people can say this is a radical change in some personality, but it's for the best. And it really kind of stands out for, you know, what Naofumi has done for Raph and how he's changed her as a person and allowed her to move on and be stronger. See, the thing about episode 2 was to show that Naofumi, even though, like I said, he seemed like he was awful with his words, his actions, you know, were louder than his words. And we saw how he treated, you know, Raph really well. He treated her like kind of like a daughter. He cared for her, and he kind of helped her get over her trauma to where she could be strong-willed and protect others. And in this episode, when it starts off, we see that it's not just her appearance that has changed. She isn't just grown in appearance. It seems like her overall personality has changed. She is able to defend and stand up for what she believes in. I mean, in this episode, we see her even stand up to Naofumi and kind of like threaten him like, hey, Naofumi, you need to get your own armor and all that. You need to worry about yourself. Stop worrying about me. I don't need a weapon. And she was just talking back to him. Or the whole food situation, how she's like, I'm not a kid and all that. I want the cheapest lunch set too. I mean, there's little exchanges throughout the episode that show that she's a little bit more confident in herself. She isn't, you know, weak-willed, and she does consider Naofumi as a person she can trust. And I think one of the reasons why she probably cares so much for him is not just from the last episode, but it's also because of how both of these characters depend on each other. They're very dependent on each other's company. See, without Naofumi, Raph would probably go back to the slave auction and have an even worse master, which she probably wouldn't have any future. And then on top of that, Naofumi needs Raph, because without her, he can't level up and he can't do anything to actually be a hero. They're both very dependent on each other for what they need. And so I think that's also what makes, you know, Raph a little bit more confident in herself, because they realize they both need each other. It isn't just a one-sided deal. One's not just taking from the other. They're both taking from each other, and it's dependence on each other, which is helping this relationship out for they can eventually, you know, overcome stronger obstacles in the future. So I noticed something while watching this episode. I don't know how many else noticed it, but you saw the villagers start to, in some ways, respect Naofumi. Like, they actually went out of their way to try to help him out after they realized he came for their aid. They actually tried to help him out, stand up, and fight with him, which meant a lot, honestly. Everything we've seen already thus far in the series, nobody's really cared much for him, and just seeing the village kind of stand up and want to protect him in some ways, seems like people are starting to open up their minds and their eyes that Naofumi isn't that bad of a dude. Regardless of whatever's been said, maybe there's more to him than what has been said through rumors or, you know, words from other people. They're actually getting to see his actions instead of words, which I think perfectly fits with the last episode. Actions speak louder than words, and his actions are speaking louder than the words that was told about him, that was putting his entire character down, ruining his public image. And we also see some soldiers actually respect him as well. You have a majority of the military that comes to try to aid the village. They kind of come too late, obviously, because the way the waves work. But you have it to where, you know, they realize the shield hero's there, they don't really care much for him, they actually even try to hurt him in a way, but then Naofumi has the upper hand, he's like, hey, I guess I should just let you guys get defeated or whatever by, you know, these zombies, and he does protect them, obviously, but majority of the soldiers decide to run off and leave, but there's just this one group that stays behind because it seems like they realize the effort and the respect that Naofumi has for the populace and the civilians, and so one group of the military decides to stay behind and help him, which shows that, once again, Naofumi is in some ways gaining, I guess, popularity. He is gaining an audience that actually respects him instead of listening to what other people have said about him. So, good start for his character, good, you know, start for him changing his public image and allowing him to actually officially become a hero instead of something that is, like, shamed or put down constantly. He might one day get the respect he actually deserves. Now, anything else left to talk about? Honestly, I guess the action. I guess let's talk about the action in general. The wave, I really love the depiction of the wave and how it started, how they were teleported, transported to where the wave started, and also how the entire battle sequence with Raph and, you know, Naofumi, how that entire scene was kind of like one scene, and it really fit showing that both of these characters are like as one unit working together to bring down the opponents. It's actually amazing to see that because, you know, it really demonstrates how they are as characters, how they rely on each other, that without Naofumi, Raph wouldn't be able to function properly, and without, you know, Raph, Naofumi wouldn't be able to function properly, and seeing how they both really work together in that battle sequence in the middle half of the episode, I appreciate that. But I think that's about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.